I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Thursday, and welcome back to our series Witch Life. This month we have been focusing on our hands, specifically the power we have in our own hands and of our own being to make our practices consistent and meaningful for us. This week we're going to be focusing on monthly observances, and I think this topic will be especially relevant for solitary practitioners. Because when it comes to conducting rituals for spots, aka moon rituals, if you're not familiar with that term, we very much have to assume the responsibility for the entire show. Celebrating and working with new moons and full moons is customary in Wicca, and it's a fairly widespread practice in Western forms of witchcraft. And depending on where the moon is in its cycle, conditions are conducive for different forms of magic, and we have opportunities to make use of the moon's energy at any stage of the cycle, as long as we are working with the general flow of things. But we can't do any of that if we aren't resolved to take matters into our own hands and make these rituals happen. Unlike a coven structure where you have other people to lean on for support, solitary practitioners need to be prepared to do it all, and we need to be willing to do it all because it is going to be work. I know that isn't necessarily something we focus on when we begin our starry-eyed journey into witchcraft, but there is work involved, and if we're going to practice solitary and really walk our talk, then we got to be willing to do all that. So let's talk a little bit about new moons, because these are all about new cycles. And the new moon is a moment when an old cycle is finally coming to its end and the new cycle is beginning. And during the waning of the moon before the new moon, we have a chance to banish what needs to go. And even on the new moon itself, it's the kind of a last-ditch opportunity to clear things out before we have to wait until the moon is waning again. But as the moon begins to wax, that is when we have the opportunity to plant new seeds and set things into motion. So whether we're banishing or planting, we have to know what we want and why we want it. Now, it's easy to find lists and lists and lists of things that we can do or should do or have available for us to do on the new moon, and what kinds of magic is best suited to this particular moon phase. But that's not the same thing as knowing for ourselves what we want to do, what we need to do, what's going to be helping us as we make our way forward, what's going to improve our circumstances and help achieve our goals, and what adjustments we might need to make in our rituals to accommodate our current needs. We have to know ourselves, and that means looking inward. And that means also being the one, okay, I'm not only going to diagnose what needs to happen next, I need to actually work the prescription. I need to do things. Now, the new moon is also a good opportunity to commune more closely with the goddess and with other lunar deities. While the energy of the new moon is beginning to start to grow outward, it's still relatively close to home and has only just stopped looking inward. And sometimes our moon observances, they're not going to be so much about magical workings as they are about having an opportunity to connect more, I suppose more intimately. In this case, it would be more emotionally and spiritually intimately. But we have to prepare ourselves to do so. And, when it's just us, we got to be the ones to make those preparations. Now, the full moons, this is a time of manifestation because it is the height of lunar power. And it's the moment where we can make things happen. And we can start seeing what has come from the seeds we planted during the new moon. Now, in order to have success, we need to make sure that we haven't been sending out mixed signals. If we perform a spell because we are wanting to get a certain result, but then after our ritual for that spell, we take actions, be they magical or mundane, that work against the intention of the spell, then we just shouldn't expect to get results from the spell, or that the spell is just going to override all the energy that we've put into actions that go in the exact opposite direction. We've got to be mindful. Even our mundane actions have energy, and all of that energy sends signals. So we can choose to act in a way that's consistent with our intentions and our goals, or we can choose to self-sabotage. But having that awareness in our mind is the first step towards avoiding that self-sabotage. And if we are looking for guidance, the full moon is an outstanding time for divination, as well as for channeling and having more direct communication with the goddess and other lunar deities. This can be a lot when it's just one person doing the work, especially when you're having to balance things like work and family and marriage and sleep. Yes, sleep. I know a lot of parents out there have only a vague recollection of what sleep is, but it is a thing that still exists, and everyone does need some. And it can be hard to work in all the other things that we have to do in life and with our spirituality that we are choosing to do. So, preparation is really going to be a witch's best friend because life is hectic. Distractions are abundant, and most people who are of adult years tend to be tired, and the older we get, the more tired we tend to be. This is why it's so beneficial for us to make plans, to actually set aside specific times and stick to it and not leave our practices to chance. Now, this probably doesn't match the romanticized, idealized image we had in our heads when we first began to learn about rituals and how to work with the moon and the importance of doing this from month to month. However, let's examine our priorities. What's more important to us? Our aesthetic vision that we thought we would just naturally slide into and that things would happen without effort? Or is it more important to actually get some work done and fulfill the oaths we made to the gods when we first dedicated ourselves to our path? So definitely think about where we are with that, and maybe this is an area in which we can mature and realize, I need to kind of let go of my, things will happen or not happen, and it's all fine kind of attitude, and start becoming more focused and disciplined. So, if it's practical, set up the altar well in advance of your ritual. Gather any of the materials you need for your spells. Make sure you have everything you're wanting and needing close at hand before the moment comes for the ritual itself. And this includes preparing ourselves, making sure we are physically clean and ceremonially cleansed, and above all, mentally present. If all that prep work is done ahead of time, it's going to be a lot easier for us, and we're going to slide into that ritual mindset, and we're not going to be as distracted, and we're not going to be thinking about the rest of our to-do list. So if we make this a habit, it will become part of our normal routines, and it will lead to us conducting much smoother rituals. Now, working with the new and the full moons are not the only monthly observances that we might choose to do. Depending on our goals, what we're focusing on, and what our patron deities may require of us, there's a wide variety of things we may find ourselves carving out the time for on a monthly basis. Some practitioners will devote a month's time to study a particular book or to do deep dives on the magical properties and uses of, just one plant or one crystal or one animal. Others honor different deities depending on the month or the time of the year. So there's a lot of things that are going on for people. And whatever your practice consists of, set yourself up for success. If you're solitary, it is more work, and there are going to be times when you're tired and short on time and low on supplies. But with preparation and dedication, you can make those occasions less frequent and less severe when they do come. So if you have struggled to keep up with your monthly observances, please don't give up. Many solitaries have had difficulties getting all of their ducks in a row. You're not the first. You won't be the last. It is within your power to have more consistency and to make the most of the tides of the moon, as well as any other monthly workings you'd like to do. So keep your chin up, get creative, get disciplined. Know you can do this. I have confidence in you. And if you need some encouragement, just let me know in the comments below, and I will try to pep you up as best I can. Or you can come see us on Discord at Blackbird's Brew. There's a link to join in the description box below. It's a great place to vent if you need to. I try to be around and keep an eye on what's going on in the room, so there should at least be one person ready with a listening ear, because it can be hard to soldier on by ourselves. So sometimes just getting a little bit of support from people who are in a very similar boat can go a long way to helping us get ourselves right again. So just bear that in mind. And as always, if you have not already done so, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.